Okay, guys, welcome to this week 2 lesson. It's all about value building systems. So in week 1, I covered off a lot of these systems that were the kind of systems that are going to instantly improve your business, that are going to make it a hell of a lot more valuable, are going to make it, turn it what is a business that doesn't have a lot of appeal into an absolute no-brainer. And a lot of the things that I taught, the operations manual, the training agreement, and a lot of those other systems that we focused in on in week 1. So when I took my business to market, eventually, I was so grateful that I'd taken the time, over the preceding few years to build out these systems and these processes, because these are the kind of ones that everyone was asking about. And I think I mentioned in week 1 that I was so surprised when eventually my business went on the market and I started, getting a whole flood of inquiries about the business. And my expectation was that people were going to be asking me about what kind of revenue I was doing, what my net profit looked like. And yeah, those things were important, but most people had reviewed my numbers in the information memorandum that I'd created about the business. So we weren't fielding questions about numbers and revenue. We were fielding questions about a whole bunch of other stuff. And this is the kind of stuff that people really, really wanted to know. This is the kind of stuff that turned people from curious inquirers into fired up, ready to rock, and desperate for a piece of the action. So what I want to do in this lesson is focus in on and just sort of run through a few additional systems that worked really, really well for me. Some of them were things that I already had in place in my business and had been, using with great success for a number of years. Others, I took the time when I started going through the process of selling my business to start creating. And therefore, when subsequent people continued over the months to inquire about my business, they were really, really impressed that we had these kind of things in place. So they're going to do 2 things. These are the kind of things that as your business grows, some of them may not be relevant 100% to you right now. And if you're a sole trader, or if you're a husband and wife team, for example, and you're running a business, then my productive 20-minute team meeting template that I'm going to show you won't have the same impact as it will if you have a business under management and you've got a general manager or an operations manager, maybe even just like an admin assistant or a business development manager. But as you grow, these things will be so, so important to you, and they're going to save you time. They're going to make your business a hell of a lot more profitable, just more productive right across the business. So I'll start with a few that I found just completely transformed my business when I implemented them, and I made it so much more productive, made my team so much more aligned. And that was one side of it. And then on the other side of it, when I actually took my business to market, these are the kind of things that people were really, really impressed with. Okay, so I'm just going to share my screen now. We'll run through a few of them. All right, so the first one I want to show you is my productive 20-minute team meeting template. And you're going to find a copy of this in the resource section that you can start using. Instantly. You can literally plug it into your business and put it to work. Or you might find that some of this is relevant to you, but you might have ideas for improvements that are really specific to your business. So I'll show you how it worked. And yeah, you can implement this as it is, or you can sort of adapt it slightly to really fit your business. So we got this totally dialed in, and every week we started with this meeting. So Monday morning, 9 a.m., might have been 10 a.m., we'd get people get into the office. My small team, I'm talking about myself, my general manager, my operations manager, and I had a couple of reservations, travel designers or reservations team members as well. So the objective of this 20-minute team meeting was to be short, sharp, really, really focused, really productive, and give people the best chance to start the week doing what they really wanted to do, which was their job. So not to one of the things that I always frustrated me in my early days in a work environment was meetings for the sake of meetings. Sitting in boring, dull meetings for the sake of meetings where people love the sound of their own voice, and thinking, my God, wouldn't people just be better off actually doing their job than sitting around listening to this? So I created this and we honed it, we refined it, we got it down to a fine art, and we could do this meeting in 20 minutes to start the week and get people fired up, get people aligned, and get people on with the task of doing their job as quickly as possible. So here's how it worked for us. And as I say, you could adapt it to suit your own needs and fit into your business. But effectively, you can pretty much plug it in and press play and put it to work in your business pretty much as it is. So it started like this. So obviously, and the really important thing is each week someone was tasked with taking minutes for the meeting. So this is how it ran. First up, a general manager would give an update on direct bookings. And so the sort of items that we would cover would be things like, the dollar amount of sales from the previous week, whether we'd seen an increase or a decrease. He'd compare it to the same week last year to get a bit of a sense on how we were tracking based on the previous year's numbers, and anything else related to bookings, anything important, any trends, etc., etc. That was about a 2-minute update. Then I would do the same kind of update, but with agent bookings. So through our distribution partners, not through our direct partners. So dollar amount from the previous week, whether it was an increase or a decrease on the week prior, comparing to the same time last year, anything else of note. So that was the first 2 items. The next, our reservations team member, or one of, would give a bit of an update on social media. So Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TripAdvisor. Was there, if we were running ads, how are they performing? If we were posting stuff, what kind of level of engagement? Was there any comments? Anything important related to social media? And in the early days when TripAdvisor reviews were everything before the monetization of TripAdvisor. So what kind of reviews that we were receiving, where we were ranked, and was there any negative reviews that needed responding to, anything like that. So that was a 2-minute update as well. Then a general manager would give an update on inquiries. What kind of volume of inquiries were we generating by phone, by email? Was it up? Was it down? What kind of conversion rate? And what kind of dollar amount? So they were really, really important parts of the meeting. And that was, probably 2 minutes for each of those updates. Then we'd move on to the general section. Each person in attendance at the meeting would give a quick summary of their wins and losses, their personal wins and losses from the previous week. Okay. And they could be anything. I bought a new toaster, or I won a $30,000 piece of business, whatever it was, wins and losses from the previous week. Some of them could be humorous, but others quite serious. And current activity. What was everybody working on that week? What were their major objectives for that week? Then our operations manager, they would give a bit of an update on anything that was challenging. So what were they working on? And was there anything challenging about the bookings that they were working on? Whether they were tailor-made inquiries or whether there was anything challenging about the kind of bookings that we were taking that was challenging to them. The next, our operations manager would give an update on staff and vehicle and equipment availability. So that was really to benefit our reservations team, the people who were selling stuff. So were we at capacity? Could we deal with more volume? How many staff do we have available? How many vehicles or what sort of equipment do we have available? Could we take more bookings? Could we do more business? Then the next part here, feedback. Was there any feedback that people had received from suppliers, from customers, from staff, anything at all of note? So everyone had an opportunity. They might have nothing to add to this section of the meeting, or they might have plenty. Was there anyone who was going to be out of the office and who was going to be manning our phones? We had a business that required kind of 24-hour manning of our phones. So something, anything of importance there, so people could communicate their goings, their comings and goings. And then someone the previous week would have been responsible for manning the weekend phone or the after hours phone. So was there anything of note there? Was the phone ringing hot with inquiries? Was there issues, logistical, operational issues that we need to talk about? And any other points for discussion? And finally, actions from the last meeting. Was there anything that came of the last meeting that we needed to action? If so, did anyone have anything of note to add here? So that was the meeting, and it was awesome. It was 20 minutes. It was short and sharp, and it was super, super productive, and it gave people the opportunity to just get on with doing their job. So that was really, really valuable. The next one I just want to run through was this one here. Now, this is something that I recommend everyone does, and it was probably the biggest question I got from anyone who inquired about my business when I went to market. Tell me about your competitors. And when I got the question, I fielded the question for the first, second, third, fourth, and fifth time, it was a very subpar response from me. It was generic. Oh yeah, there's a few guys out there doing this or doing that, or there's that particular company, but we do things better. And it wasn't a really impressive answer. And I took the time. I took a step backwards, and I took the time to do this properly. And the results were really, really impressive because, I would have had 30, maybe 40 inquiries about my business when it went on the market. After probably the first 10 to 15 inquiries, I took a step backwards and I put together this customer analysis, and it really, really helped me. So when I presented this to people who were interested in my business, they were super impressed that I'd done this thorough research about the competitors. And I know that it made a difference at the other end when I sold my business, and the people that actually went to the next step of making an offer. This was something that played a big role in that. I put together this customer analysis template, and this is something that I think you should all be doing right now, no matter whether you're planning on taking your business to market in the next few months, 6 months or 12 months, or whether you're still 2, 3, or 4 years down the track. This is immensely important for you to be doing in your business. So I try to keep it as simple and effective as possible. So choose your top 3 competitors and start putting together this type of information about them, their brand, heart, their purpose, vision, mission, values, the look and feel of the business. What do you feel? Be honest. This is not a time to kind of deceive yourself or kid yourself. Value proposition, their tagline. What are their core products and services? What do you see as their ideal avatar? And you can see that by taking a peek at their website, review platforms, the images they've got on their website, the type of people who are taking their tours, how their customers talk about them. Again, the testimonials. You could talk to some, if you're in the tourism, travel and tours and activities industry, you could go and talk to a few distribution partners about that particular company, maybe a hotel concierge or something. How are they getting their customers? A lot of this is going to be hunch. Obviously you're not going to be able to fill in a lot of this intel with the sort of stuff that's is best known within company walls, but to the best of ability, how are they acquiring their customers? What do you reckon their estimated revenue would be? What do you see as their strengths and weaknesses, similarities and differences? Do that for your top 3 competitors, and that is going to help you not only right now in your business to improve your business right across the board, but it's also going to be immensely valuable when you take it to market. So strongly recommend you do that. The next thing was about training. So this is something that a lot of people asked about as well, especially towards the business end of our business sale. So they wanted to know, the next 2 resources I'm going to share with you are all about people wanting to know how scalable the business was, the people, the human resources in the business, and how easy it was going to be for someone to jump into the driver's seat, to recruit, to cope with increased volume, increased capacity, and to deliver more of your service or to sell more of your product. So this one, our staff orientation checklist, again, this was one I created in the process of selling my business, and it really, really served me well towards the business end when inquiries, people were digging a bit deeper and wanting to know more, and we're getting more and more interested in my business, and we're getting closer to the point of making an offer. And it's all about how easily people can drop into your business and how easily it will thrive under a change of ownership, let alone just survive. So this was a great one, and was really impressive when I presented it to people, because the questions they would have asked, what happens when you actually bring people into your business? How do you train them? Does anyone know besides you how to get people doing their job as quickly as possible? So this was really, really valuable. So this section was the things to be completed over the first week. Some of them, whether they've either been done or whether they're just not applicable. There was a tour of the office and introductions made to the people in the office, and all of the key sort of products and software and IT and all these kind of things. An introduction to their office or their workstation. Basically, the purpose of this document was so that the training process could be undertaken by other people in the office and people could get up to speed, making a difference, having an impact as quickly as possible, and that there wasn't an over reliance on you as the business owner to get people trained. So that was something that was very, very valuable to me. And again, it's something you can literally drag and drop into your business today. My information, my staff orientation checklist. Next one I just want to share with you is this. And this is what I call our tour guide information and availability. So this would be really, really valuable for anyone running a service business that has peak times, and really, really busy times, and need to bring in additional staff to help them cope in times of in peak times. Whether, I don't know whether you're doing holiday cleans for holiday rental accommodation, and you need to employ more cleaners at certain times of the year. Whatever it is, if you run a service-related business and you have peaks and troughs, high season, low season, you need to bring more people in. Well, one of the key questions I've got from people who are interested in my business is, okay, well, how are we going to scale it? How are we going to continue to grow it? How are we going to, invest in marketing and sales and generating more bookings? And once we generate those bookings, how are we going to deliver more of them? And I had this as an answer. So some of the key features of this, and I think if you don't have anything like this, it would be really, really valuable for you to start creating something like this. And again, you can adapt it to suit your business, or you could really just drop it in, drag and drop, or plug and play, whatever you like to call it. So some of the key features of this availability document, it wasn't just so much about staff, about which contractors or let's say freelancers we could call on to represent us. It was deeper than that. So if my operations manager, God forbid, got hit by a bus and someone had to walk in and do an operations job, and we were going through a really, really busy time in our business, could they just literally hit the ground running and start allocating services to staff without asking a whole bunch of questions, or without someone having to train them, on a really deep level to do that? So the kind of information we had here, obviously the name of that particular tour guide. Now, a lot of these tour guides worked for me from anywhere between full-time hours or once a month or less, and you can see that through the services that have been allocated. So this is from January 2017. You can see this particular staff member here has been allocated jobs on the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, and there would have been more to come. These are services that were pre-booked. So we did a lot of on the day last minute requests as well. But you can see that there's certain staff that have requested time off by the fact that they're not available. They might be on holidays or certain things. These are all of our contractors, not our full-time staff. A lot of them would have worked full-time hours through busy times, but in any case, this was kind of where all of our contractor information was kept. So the tour guide name, this section here, again, it's not all going to be 100% relevant to you, but you can adapt it to fit your business, and I'm sure a lot of you will be able to do that. So to give you a sense of the type of information that we included, where does this person live? And this was all about how close to the office they were. So in my business, we took a lot of last minute requests. So could we call on people to get up and running, to be, and my business required people to pick guests up, international visitors from hotels within our city. So how far did they live from the office? Well, he lived 15 minutes from the office. The Ocean Grove, that's quite a way out of the city. So they wouldn't have been available for last minute requests. In the city, this is a city suburb. So a lot of these people lived very, very close to our office and also to our pickup. So they could be called on to do last minute jobs. Tour suitability, which we ran a lot of different type of tours. So which kind of tours were they suitable? Were they well trained in, and could they deliver? So this is code here. This is Melbourne. This means Yarra Valley. This means Great Ocean Road Drive Fly. So let's say ran 16 different types of tours. A lot of these contractors were good to deliver all. Some of them just literally one that they were experts in, others could deliver more. So it was really easy for people to see what type of services they could allocate. Did they speak any foreign languages? We had a lot of foreign language customers. So what kind of languages did they speak? What were their favorite types of tours? What do they really love to deliver? What lit them up? That was really valuable. And then obviously their contact information, which I've left out of this document for privacy reasons. And then other important information, like for example, this contractor here does not have a bus license, so could only do really small private tours in small, sedans or 7-seat vehicles. Do they have any specific interests or hobbies? A lot of our really high-end clients had specific interests, and we'd love to try and match the right type of person with the right type of experience. So that was valuable as well. And obviously, I've deleted all this information for privacy reasons. But so that when I got the question, how are we growing your business? You've talked about all these plans. What would someone do if they were in the driver's seat in 10 years, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 10 years from now? How would they be growing the business? And we had this plan, this vision laid out for the future. But the question was, well, how are we going to actually physically cope with this demand? How are we going to increase our capacity? How are we going to cope with this anticipated increase in volume? And my answer was, well, this is our master sheet of people that can represent us, that are trained. We train them all, and this is the these are the people you're going to be able to call on in the immediate to be able to grow your business. And anyone, including yourself, to the prospective purchaser of your business, can slot in and start allocating more services, more tours tomorrow without any high level training, just using this document. So that was really, really valuable. And that again was something that a lot of people asked for. And this is something that I didn't create through the sale process. I already had this in place, but it gave people the confidence to move forward and go from inquiry or very interested to I see how I see myself in the driver's seat, and I can see how I'm going to scale this business and cope with the increased capacity. And lastly, I just wanted to quickly run through this. This is an example of one document that I had in a file or in a folder of many, many documents. And again, it was something that I had in place well before we took our business to market, but served us very, very well when we did take our business to market. We had a master folder, like just a hard copy folder of all of the people in the business. And it was kind of like what we call our position description folder. So I had these documents for our business development manager, operations manager. Our business development manager became our general manager, a few years after this document was created in about 2014, 2015. We had it for our reservations team members. We had it for our admin assistant. Basically, everyone in our business had a position description. The first one was the advertised position description. So this was the job ad that we created that the person in this role first applied for. So we always wanted it as a reference for people to look back at why or how did someone come to be in your business? What was the ad that they responded to, and what were they hired on the basis of? So that the very, very first thing there was very important, the advertised position description. So the second thing that went into this document for all of our team members was the position summary. So we broke it down into percentages. So 60%, 30%, and 10%. So this particular role, 60% was business development related. So growing our well-established business in key international markets, increasing the business that we receive from existing clients. So, things like regular updates and, developing and implementing strategies to increase business through other marketing channels. 30% was about current clients, managing current clients and accounts. So the first is all about growing the business. The second is about managing our current and existing accounts. And the third and this will be appropriate to any micro business with a small number of team members. This was all about rolling your sleeves up, getting involved in peak times. So assisting with the day-to-day general tour operations and admin duties in peak times, specifically between our peak season, which was December 1st through to January 31st. So in every small business, every micro business, a really fluid approach is really, really important. So people are going to have to roll their sleeves up and get involved. So there was an awareness that someone in a business development role wasn't going to come in here and say, oh, hold on a second, why am I doing all of this administrative kind of menial stuff that isn't related to business development in these peak times? And we would say, well, we were very, very clear when you started in this position with us that there were going to be times throughout the year that you needed to just chip in, lend a hand and get the job done. So that was that. And then the third section was the actual responsibilities. What were the specific responsibilities that people had been employed to take care of? And this is the kind of stuff that formed the personal development plan that we talked about in that week one lesson. So there was one of these position descriptions that was created for every team member in our business. They were the 3 sections that we felt were really important to include in them. And again, when people started inquiring about our business, tell me about the people in your business, we could just simply open this folder up or present it to them and say, well, here's our team members. This is why they were employed. This is the ad they responded to. This is the actual breakdown of their position, the summary of the weighting, the importance of certain tasks, and where they're going to be spending their time. And this is what they're actually doing. Okay, so that was really, really valuable. And I'll leave it there. And I'm sure that you'll find these really helpful for you. Again, as I say, some of them you can literally just drop into your business and put them to work immediately. Others you'll need to sort of adapt and tweak and use for inspiration as well. Thanks, guys.